relax your mind.
So police think they have the authority to kill a minority.
Right on the side and be best to kill.
I'm sweeter and thicker than a Chico stick.
Damn, at the stage, making that sound. The turntables might wobble, but they don't fall down.
Aiming at your head, I can puff
Make
it
the
up.
gas for those little white lies.
Lemonade was a popular drink and it still is a fiend.
Before I became a teen, I melted microphones instead of cones and ice cream.
One, two, three.
And now, everybody, MC Serch. MC Serch. MC Serch. MC Serch. MC Serch.
Serch will never stand still.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's the other white meat, MC Serch. Welcome to another Serch Says podcast. Want to thank all of y'all for the congratulations. As you know, I share pretty much everything with you. The Sony deal officially closed last week. So now if you want to see this wonderful, beautiful, talented, amazing show, you can go to the Sony podcast page and also our Orchard partners. Thank you to all of them for their support, continuous support. This has been a project of passion that has become a project of passion and profit. And speaking of profits, got to thank the sponsors that keep it rolling. Bruetta Tea, amazing tea company. They are homegrown. They also do all types of the homegrown. But make sure that you go to check them out at Bruetta.com, BRUTTA, Bruetta.com. Thank you to them. They've been an amazing sponsor and also doing the Dr. Dre MTV Raspberry Mint Tea to support Dr. Dre in his health issues. So please, if you can, support all of that. And also they just sent me this amazing new green tea, which my wife loves. I don't like tea, but I do love this tea. It's dope, and I wouldn't put it on if it wasn't dope. Speaking of dope, I love that Mike checked himself as not Ben Humble. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Baller. I am such a fan. Like, I'm geeking out right now because I am a fan. He's not Ben Humble. Do not get it fucked up. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Baller is joining the Serch Says podcast. Ben, thank you, man, for your time. Thank you for what you've done for the culture in all facets, from music to fashion to your commitment to the music and obviously the creativity.
Man, thank you for having me on. Real quick, seeing the intro to the show, I never considered myself an old head, but being in the game and making joy for some of these young up and coming people and things, and seeing their thoughts of old school hip hop and just their thoughts on music, period. I realized that a lot of them haven't really studied too far back. So I don't really think 30 years. If you're thinking about Van Morrison, and you're thinking about even Grover Washington Jr. or whatever, that's far, far back, right? And when I was looking at, when I was listening to Roy Ayers music, it was from the 70s. I'm listening to that in the late 80s or early 90s. You're thinking all right, well, that's not too far back to kind of see where the roots or things are sampled from. So when I'm looking at the t-shirts on the Melted Mics, I'm like, yo, I'm so proud that I know where that's so simple. Like, if you ask anybody that's over 45, they should know where every single t-shirt came from, right? Like Lemonade, Chico Stick, all that. Like, if you don't know that, what are you doing, man? But anyways, I just put a smile on my face, and I'm honored to be here, man.
Well, just so you know, we are, obviously it's part of my culture, not only as a hip hop head, but a Jew, that when people come to my house, they receive gifts. So you'll be receiving every one of those shirts.
I appreciate it.
In a size too small, because, we want you to shrink down. But you'll get all of those. And also we're going to be sending you a beautiful package of Bruetta tea. So hopefully you and your family can enjoy that as well. Nice. But I want to go back. I really want to take it back because your story is very amazing and not as complicated as people might think, because very similar to me. You grew up in a cool state, California. I grew up in New York. You also very early on, were able to connect with a lot of people just through osmosis of going to school, right? I mean, that was just a part of who you were. You were regionally connected. It was very similar to me when I went to high school. I saw Ricky D. I saw Dana Dane, before they made records. So I was very immersed in the culture before the culture became an ecosystem of a genre. And you had a very similar experience coming up.
Yeah, man. Again, I wish I paid more attention to a lot of people's other stories, just random civilians on the street and like, hey, did you grow up with anybody? Boom. And the more I do hear about people, like let's say, for instance, it could be a personal assistant. It could be somebody that I might have worked with on a show. And I'll be like, oh, did you go to high school here? Okay, well, anyone cool go to high school with you or whatever it may be. I feel like coming up in hip hop in the 80s and 90s, because it was such a small fraternity that you would think you'd have to go look for it, but it kind of found me too. So even getting kicked out of a couple of schools in LA, the music brought me together with the people who fuck with it heavy. And when I was in the Bay Area in the late 80s, I just found a group of people that that liked hip hop, and no matter what, we got along because of the music. And little did I know that, some of these guys would be making legendary albums at the time, or, later on, we're all pretty young, but like, let's say, for instance, the Hieroglyphics, Casual, J-Biz, Pep Love, things like that. But even on some R&B shit like Tony, or Digital Underground, things like that. And then, because I come from such an LA background, so seeing Eazy-E at Ballistics and seeing, NWA and being friends with Dave Faustino, and we had the Ballistics nightclub and DJ P and Rob, well, just anyone, Good Life and all those things. People don't realize that NorCal is really a different state. It should be, the Bay Area is really its own, like, it is a state. It's a different area and a different type of music, different type of people, different type of culture. So, I just remember I worked at Burger King, and I'm not even just I'm in a totally different area. And I'm working at Burger King because.
Did you have sex in the Burger King bathroom? I just need to know if Shock G boosted your whole life experience.
No, and
Did you get busy in a Burger King bathroom?
I wish, man. This was actually, it might have been like right then at that time, which is crazy. But I was in a city called El Cerrito, which is literally almost a neighborhood away from Berkeley, California. And I played football. And I remember a Cadillac pulled up to this high school, and Todd Anthony Shaw, aka Too Short, was, I was like, oh shit. And in LA, a lot of people in 1989 didn't really know who Too Short was until, Life is Too Short. Some of the hits came out, but they didn't know about was it 86 Girls or 87 Girls Prince? I forgot what it was, but back in the Freaky Tales things, only like real hip hop heads would know, and it was a different type of sound. It wasn't like, it wasn't like any of that of a East Coast lyricist sound. Too Short. That Freaky Tales was a 7.5 minute song. Like, songs weren't that long, right? Even the show, the long version with all the breakdown was like 5.5 minutes, maybe. Like, I don't think a song since Knee Deep Funkadelic was that long. So it was just like something I was like, oh shit, this is Oakland. Okay, boom. And I just found a way. Later on, I just became friends with the dude, but. People had called me the Forrest Gump of hip hop because I've kind of been a witness of a lot of these weird things, maybe from afar, maybe not, made, a direct impression on something, but I was there.
No, and listen, so there's about 17 of us that are the Forrest Gumps of hip hop. Chris Rock is one of them. I'm one of them. And I want to share this Too Short story with you because I think you'll find it amusing. So, and very much like the Bay Area, when I first met MC Hammer was like '87. I was with Houdini. They were doing a like basketball tournament, and I was there to like iron their clothes. Like I was a valet. So, I was just happy to get on a plane because I'd never been on a plane before. Like that was a big deal for me. And Hammer pulled up, and there was some people around me like, yo, he's dope. He could dance. And like I was a dance, like You
Yeah,
listen,
I've seen it.
I'm in the Land Quarter every week. Like I'm down with ICU with Shake and Fatima Robinson and Stretch and like they ain't fuck him. I'm the dancer. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not only I'm a dancer, but I'm a New York white boy who thinks nobody can tell him shit. And Hammer pulls up and he's got his his car filled Cadillac filled with like tapes in the back. And I said I wanted to battle him, and he just peeled off. Like he totally ignored me. Like, who the fuck are you? But when we put out Third Base's first record, we had a tour with Too Short, and I told Too Short this story on our podcast with him, and he remembered it. So we had to do the Midwest because obviously we had the East Coast and West Coast lockdown. Everybody was listening to Step Into the AM, and but we had to like get the Midwest because that's the hard part. So we're doing like a tour with him with like Nebraska, Idaho, Texas, Oklahoma. And I'm on stage dancing my ass off. I'm running into the crowd. I'm just busting my ass, bro. Crowd's going crazy. Like they've never seen no shit like this. Like Pete comes out, suave bowler as fuck, suit, can't all of that shit. Daddy Rich doing tricks. I mean, like I'm sweating my ass off. 45 minutes, bust my ass. Ladies and gentlemen, Too Short. He walks on stage. Bitch! Ah! Crowd goes crazy. I'm like, what the fuck? Did I miss something? Did he just do a backflip onto the stage? Was this pyrotechnics? Did something explode? Like, no, he just walked on stage, walked back, and slow pimp as fuck. Bitch. Ah! And I just thought, okay, maybe this is his crowd. Maybe it's his home team. Like, oh, he might from the every night he killed us. Yeah. Every night he baked us by coming out on stage. And that's when I also got the education that we in New York wasn't shit. Like New York, we thought we were the shit. And LA was cool, but everybody else wasn't shit. Like you were privileged to buy my shit. Like it was a real fucked up mindset, Ben. Like it was a really fucked up ass backwards mindset. But we walked the planet thinking that we were better than everybody. And Too Short, within 15 minutes, like sunned me. And I mean, I busted my ass and he sunned me. And we've had a friendship ever since then because of the amount of respect I then had for music anywhere else outside of New York.
But like, let me ask you this real quick. I know it's your podcast, but I just was curious, man. Immediately I just totally forgot because there's stories about Hammer, seeing him, by when I would go through the Acorn projects in Oakland and go through West Oakland and everything and see, I think he went to McClymonds High School, went to Oakland Tech, one of the two. And, I think he went to, I don't know, but there's this basketball legend who was actually shorter than me. He's 5'10", and his name is Demetrius Mitchell. It's called Hook. Legend.
Yeah, Hook.
And MC Hammer will come out and throw hundreds at him in the park, and this dude would dunk over cars and everything. And when I think about, by the way, buying your first album, I'll never forget how crazy is this. I bought your first album on San Pablo Avenue in the borderline of Albany and El Cerrito, right? Literally 3-4 minute walk from that Burger King I worked at a Warehouse Records. And I remember buying it, and I was like, yo, man, this is crazy. This white boy can dance, boom, whatever. But then when the MC Hammer, like, hey, Hammer, what do you think about Hammer? Boom. I had heard a rumor. What rumors can you really hear? It's like there's no social media. There's like the Source magazine. That's it. But they had said that he put a hit out on you guys or something like that. And so now you're telling me about this because I'm not knowing. We just barely talked recently. I didn't know that you had met Hammer in '87 because your record came out later. So whatever happened with that then? Was there really beef with Hammer?
Oh, yeah. Nah. Beef. I mean, beef is an understatement, Ben. I mean, I really want to get to your story. This is a very well-known story. But no. But you're here, so I might as well bless you with it. No, I mean, on the Cactus album, there's a song called The Cactus. Now, I want to preface this by saying that with Hammer, that I didn't think anything of it. Like he didn't know who I was. Like he was hot in his hood. Like he was, he was the bat boy for the Oakland A's. Like we had already, I'd already heard who he was, what he was doing in and around Oakland. So I had understood that. I just wanted to battle him because it was a New York thing, Ben.
Right. No,
like if you had skills,
I'm an X-ray fam. Come on.
Right. No, I understand. I'm explaining to the people who are listening who might not understand when they see this and they're like, yo, what the fuck is he talking about? So fast forward, he disses on his Please Hammer Don't Hurt. He dissed Run DMC. You ain't hitting in New York. And then in his video, he has some lookalikes. He has some look like that. He's kind of dissing Run DMC, like Jam Master Jay. Like if you can see it over my head, I don't know if you can. That's his chain, right? That's his chain, and above it is his funeral pamphlet from his funeral.
Right.
Like I look at that every day. Like Jay is my hero, because Jay was the reason like that Tony D signed me. Like I was rhyming in front of him like that, and Jay was like the guy who held me down. So we in New York, like you can't just like the reason there's a reason there's an industry is because of Run DMC.
You when you said that, you could just stop. I mean, of course you elaborate what I'm saying.
Say less, right? Like say I could say less. Yeah.
I didn't think about that, and I can never as much as I've been in New York and I lived there for 2 years. I can't tell you. More than hundreds of days there, right? I can never tell you, no matter how much I spend there, what it might have been like during that time. And I'm not from Oakland, okay? I lived in the Bay for a while during that time, so I could tell you certain things about that, but you couldn't tell me about LA, really being in South Central, being in Koreatown, being in Santa Monica, wherever it may be. But I can tell you this, there was a lot of people when, not Hotbox. What the hell is it? Why am I drawing a blank, man?
Video Music Box?
No. Run DMC.
Okay. Rockbox.
Okay, so when that came out, boom. When Raising Hell came out, look, there was a lot of Run DMC fans for sure. Now, also at the same time, there wasn't a lot of hip hop out. That doesn't mean that there wasn't great hip hop out with Run DMC. Me personally, when I thought of Hard Times and I think of other things, it's like that. Like I liked it. But I was also low-key a hater because I was from LA. And that was just a weird LA thing. Not necessarily hating, but like, hey, man, how can New York be? And it's just crazy because why would I think that? Now, when it came to breakdancing early on, and I'm talking about in the early 80s, when Break and the movie came out, when I saw Crazy Legs and Flashdance, I knew immediately who that was. How do you know that? That there has to be the folklore about him was amazing. So in 1984, I was 12 years old. I wanted to go to New York City. I worked a paper route. I worked at a martial arts store so I can get and meet the Rocksteady crew. This ain't like, like now maybe you can locate people, but think about then what kind of tools you might have had. So with that said, I always had the utmost respect because hip hop was founded, in New York. But there was some hater shit that went along with it. Now I vaguely remember the Hammer thing, but I remember that album was so big, right? But when he put out You Can't Touch This, I was like, yeah, really? For Rick James, bro? Like, really? I didn't think it was going to be like 7 or 8 times platinum like it did. And then it became massive superstar, whatever. It was just something that made me think because, and I hope that doesn't people.
No, not at all, bro.
Legacy and be like, oh, this is a dude who just happened. But for now, you saying that, shit, I almost put you a little bit higher up now because you defended your city, you defended, New York.
It was about defending. It wasn't even not defending New York. It was defending my people. But it was really also, the funny thing was, when we did the Gas Face video and it was Hammer Shut the Fuck Up. What do you think about Hammer? Run DMC, Jam Master Jay, and DMC are knocking the Hammer over. We had the two big MC look-alike. We kick him, Jay kicks him in the ass. All of that. But there was a song on the album called the Cactus album, which was the title song.
Right.
And my old partner said, the Cactus turned Hammer's mother out. Right. And that line, don't say, ooh, don't do that. Because you're an MC. You're a lyricist. Come on, stop it. Okay. Now, but you know what? No, don't stop it. Because you're right. You're right, but you're wrong. Because for us, his album was called Turn This Mother Out.
Right.
So our album, The Cactus, turned Hammer's mother out. Like, our album was better than his album. We are lyricists. We were raised on Rakim, Kane, G-Rap, Grandmaster Caz, Melly Mel.
Look, he was saying some ABC shit. That's for sure.
Dude,
he was
and that Can't Touch This shit was corny as fuck to us.
Right. But at the same time, look, for dancing, like, bro, look. Me being someone who was a dancer, meaning a break dancer and a popper and loving Boogaloo Shrimp and all that shit, it got to a point where, you know, too much Ice Cube got in me. Gangsters don't dance, they boogie, boom, whatever. But then seeing Hammer perform in the Oakland Coliseum, you know, and you're like, the fuck is going on here? You know what I mean? You got dudes with 7-foot hair and boom, and there's a shitload of dancers. I'm like, God damn, he done turned this to a different thing, which that's cool. But like, which is so crazy because it's the Bay. Drake took me on tour in 2010. I think it was his first big show. It was a radio show in San Jose. And I remember we were driving down from San Francisco, and there was like slight, kind of like, there wasn't beef. There was maybe some lamb between him and Chris Brown because of him coming up, boom. I think he did a song with Rihanna. He liked her, boom. And there was some weird shit. But Chris Brown was the main headliner. So, you know, I remember we're about to go on stage. I'm about to give a watch out to a lucky person in the crowd. Drake's about to bring me out. He's an enormous superstar. He's just barely coming out, but he's immediately just made a huge impact. Place is screaming, 30,000 people, girls screaming everywhere. And I remember CJ, his manager, was kind of like, yo, man, what you about to see happen after you, don't pay it no mind. You know, this is a different type of thing. And I didn't understand what he was trying to say. And I was like, what you mean? Chris ain't going to rap. He's going to sing. And I didn't get it. Then when Chris came out, you got the dancers, you got the thing, you got, you know what I'm saying, the choreographic type shit and everything. And I was like, oh, this is a whole different type of thing. You ain't going out there, you know, it's dancers and things like that. And what I'm saying is it's just a trip that, you know, but at the same time, Chris is a bad motherfucker as far as R&B goes. I'm just saying Hammer, it was just an entertaining show, you know, like it was a bunch of artists on there, Jodeci, whatever it may be.
Boys to Men.
Yeah. I wasn't really like, you know, bro, I'm trying to see someone bust 16s, right? So it was, I get it. And enough about Hammer. I'm sorry, brother.
No, it's okay. But he took it some type of way, and he put a hit out on us. And you know, that's, you know, he put a hit out on us with the Rolling 60 Crips, and it was crazy. It was a crazy first time ever coming to LA in my life, as you know, myself and dealing with all of that. But you know, talking about you as well, coming up in that time, you know, you made a really interesting point that I was going to kind of roll into. You know, LA definitely not only had its own identity, but also a lack of identity at the same time. So while we were doing Crush Groove and we were doing Beat Street and we had Wild Style, you know, you guys were doing Breakin', and you were doing, you know, your part of contributing to the media aspect of the culture. But then there's this period of time that comes where, you know, the Ice Cubes, the NWAs, the Compton's Most Wanted, you know, those records really start to take hold. And then there's a huge sense of pride, right? So was there a period of time when you went from listening to, you know, the main sources of the world and the Rakims of the world, where you were just all about LA and all about what you listened to, and you kind of tuned out everything kind of, you know, east of the border?
So this is where it gets tough. You know, being a DJ, being in sports and being certain things. Look, there was a group. There was two guys out of Compton. Sorry, two groups, but guys, whatever, out of Compton in the early '90s. Not I would say kind of circa third base era and everything. One was DJ Quick, and the other was this group called Second to None, which was also a spawn off of DJ Quick. Quick was a bad motherfucker, period. I mean, his albums, I just recently saw the other day, Kendrick Lamar put his top 5 greatest hip hop albums ever, and Quick was like, I think number 1 and number 2, one of the things. And that album was fucking phenomenal. Like, it was not just the production, but even though he was rapping about a lot of gangster shit, a lot of people don't know that Quick as a Name album was a mixtape on the streets, dissing all kinds of Crip hoods and everything. It was really, really gang related. And there was enough lyrics for me to be like, all right, cool. Now, the only problem was going to school in the Bay and living in LA and certain things. In LA, you know, the fashion was the Dickies, the white tees, the Cortez and the baseball LA hat, or the Raiders gears. And then in Oakland and in the Bay, you know, these guys were wearing rayon, silk shirts, different things. They had a different type of style. So, you know, I'm in San Francisco, I'm on Haight Street, and there's kind of like certain things. And I like the hip hop style. You know, I'm like, all right, shell toes are hard to find in the West Coast. And there was this brand that later I became friends with Julie, but 555 Soul. Shout out to Julie Z, that's my girl. And 555 Soul, and I was like, yo, boom. So with that said, it's hard to wear a 555 Soul beanie and like a shirt and rock with Cube, even though in my heart it was pumping NWA heavier than you could imagine. But like, you know, when you listen to like anything lyricist wise, like you said, like Main Source, whatever, boom. Even when like Fake It the Funk came out, that was what White Man Can't Jump soundtrack, whatever. I almost played both sides. You feel me? So like I felt awkward listening to Ice Cube wearing big ass baggy jeans. I were kind of like that whole not Lords of the Underground. What the fuck am I thinking about?
Das Effects.
No, Busta Rhymes crew. What the fuck was this?
Leaders of the New School.
New School. So goddamn, sorry, man. You're so much sharper than me. And so like, you know, you go to these things and you're like, even like, you know, there was a hip hop sound and then there was gangster rap, right? And it was just two different things. And I kind of like just had to just, you know, I fuck with both. That's what's crazy. A lot of people on the West Coast didn't rock with that unless you were a lyricist, right? Like the Far Side cats like that, people who had bars, people who are more like psychedelic, more into those type of things. But now that doesn't mean you can't take away from Cube, because when you think about the golden era hip hop, I got to put Cube in my top 3 lyricist wise, because America's Most Wanted is fucking insane, right? You know, and I know I'm jumping all over the place, but like I remember being on the Song Cry video shoot, and I'm in Jay's trailer, and Dame is being loud and Big Chill, whatever, blah blah, and Jay just really just trying to just relax. He doesn't want any of the fuckery, whatever, boom. And I'm in the trailer. I pull in, and I look at Jay-Z Hove has CDs, like maybe 6 of them. I wasn't paying attention to all of them. I just remember one. The main one that was there was America's Most Wanted. And I was like, oh shit. Because there was a weird funk between the East Coast, West Coast at that time, but you respected that, you know, obviously listen to America's Most. And then I think about the first time I ever met Chris Rock ever. He probably would never remember. I don't think he even knows me, but I remember the first time meeting him was at a club called the Roxbury. And I'm at the Roxbury. He's there with the Wayans brothers. And we're just talking about hip hop. This is like maybe circa 94, 93, whatever. And he's like, yo, I remember I had Straight Outta Compton in New York City, man. I was the shit. I was the man. And I was, what the fuck? People in New York knew about that album. He's like, what? He's like, bro, Straight Outta Compton was some shit, you know? And I'm just thinking about different areas and different places that people grew up. And I remember Ice-T telling me he went on tour. You know, it was Ice-T, NWA, and 2 Live Crew, whatever. And they were killing all these places. They were like, you know, killing every state. And then they got to Florida, and nobody gave a this is when NWA had the #1 record in the country, and boom, no one gave a fuck about NWA. Nobody gave a fuck about Ice-T. But as soon as 2 Live Crew went on stage, bro, the place went like, he thought that fucking place was the stadium was going to collapse. Like it was like that. And you started realizing, you know, it wasn't until I got into the music business that I really understood, damn, like this shit ain't popping over here. Damn, Dr. Dre's Chronic album went platinum in California, you know, let alone everywhere. But I'm saying it was like, you know, people could go platinum in their own state, like Scarface did. And you may not really hear about certain things, you know, like if I didn't know, if it wasn't for Rick, I want to say Rick Rubin, Rick Ross. Rick Rubin was looking to sign this dude. And we were friends, but I had a mutual friend between me and Rick who were super close with each other. And he said, hey, bro, Rick's trying to sign this guy named DJ Screw. I was like, what the fuck is that? You know, in the 90s, like, who the fuck is this? And later did I know, legend, you know, dude's a super legendary Houston, you know, rapper. So anyways, you know, I started to realize a lot about the West Coast, East Coast, and different areas and stuff. And so, you know, I inside deeply, my heart, like I said, was always the gangster rap shit, but I always fuck with, you know, Gangstar and all that shit. Like when I heard Gangstar's fucking take the weight. Like I'm like, Jesus, how could you deny that? You know, even Eric Sherman the whole night. I mean, I was a fucking Def Squad DJ, right? I always had that on my bones. But then when I got into the business, you know, I worked at a fucking gangster rap pioneer powerhouse. You know what I'm saying? Priority Records. So you know, we didn't even have any East Coast shit at the time. So like it was kind of like forced upon us. But when I went to Aftermath with Dr. Dre, I started to realize that even the Dre had the dopest Compton West Coast dudes. His real heart was in East Coast rap. Like I was shocked. I was like, what the fuck, bro? Like he would literally fuck with, like, I remember I was DJing at a bar and I played Foo Schnickens, and that's what made Dr. Dre stand up. Not all the West Coast shit that was being played. He says, oh, that's my shit. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, really? So it was I just like versatility. And even though I kind of, like I said, in that early on, I see the New York, LA, like, and this is the early 80s, I evolved a lot because I like music. I don't think, and as much as I've ever loved music, just the last conversation me and you had on the phone, I'm like, this motherfucker really loves music. Like, I don't know many people that could love music this much, So yeah, man, I think I had, like, it was a 60-40, but really it could have been looked at as a 50-50 because I love New York so much.
I think one of the few things that I remember about Ice Cube coming to New York, and he shares this not only with anyone who will listen, but when he came to do America's Most Wanted, he came to work with Sam Sever because of the beats on the Cactus album. He didn't come to work with the Bomb Squad. And Dre said the same thing. He said that the beats from the Cactus album were some of the matriarchal beats that he sampled for Straight Outta Compton. And Compton's Most Wanted, one time gaffled him up, second verse, he says, yo, we were bumping the Cactus. So I started to really understand that we had a real significant impact on, and Sam did for sure, but we had this amazing, in fact, the story is that Cube only worked with the Bomb Squad because Sam Sever never showed up to Def Jam to meet with Ice Cube. He claims that Russell or Lior never told him about the meeting or whatever, but Ice Cube came to New York, to Def Jam Records, to fuck with Sam Sever to make America's Most Wanted. And whatever the lack of communication was, it was. But that's how that album actually got made. And when you say, you didn't realize, Dope Man, like, we were bumping Dope Man in like 87. Right. Like we were fans of even Arabian Prince. All of that music, Egyptian Lover, like all of that. As long as it was dope, it was dope. And I'm talking about from a club perspective, right? But then we had Video Music Box, we had U68. So then we saw the videos, and then the videos were crazy. Like Straight Outta Compton was a crazy video, and I was on the road for like a month with Quick. And I got to really break bread with him. Like, I really got to like understand who he was, right? Like, and understand what that blue rag really meant to him, the protection that provided him,
The red rag.
Red rag. Oh, I'm sorry.
He's a treetop blood.
Right. But I understood what that red rag really meant to him. You know what I'm saying? Because it was not just a set he repped, but it was literally like a blanket that he wrapped around him. You know what I'm saying? It was a shield. And he was really able to break that down to me in a way that I could respect it. Because I didn't understand it, but I could respect it. And it was one of those things that for us outside of New York, looking at Bloods and Crips, it was very difficult to understand. Like, because we had Ball Busters, we had, Zulus, we had Black Spades. We had gangs, but it was a different connectivity to those gangs. You know what I'm saying? But it was very similar and very different. And now in New York, Far Rockaway is all Pyru red. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my whole hood is this color. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's and it's just
and they enforce more than LA does, which is crazy. Like, they're more active in it. But before I forget, I have to bring this up, right? Look, as big as LA was in certain things, we never really got our respect. It just felt like it was what it was. When I think of the '88 Detroit Pistons bad boys, it put a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Everyone hated them. Boom, whatever. They were just, and at a certain point, the only thing I will say wasn't us is with Detroit, they were good, but they made everyone play worse. Whereas with us, I really do truthfully feel like that Dr. Dre is one of the greatest producers ever in history. I do feel like Cube was one of the greatest lyricists ever at the time. And I do feel like MC Ram was rapping the hardest shit. Now, with all that said, it's 1996. We just barely did the Jay-Z deal. I'm at How Can I Be Down? I'm in Miami Beach. I'm enjoying myself, having a great
Well, let's go back a second relax. Rewind, selector. Like, rewind.
Okay, come on.
So Reasonable Doubt, I mean, you need to explain to people your involvement in Reasonable Doubt, because I think that's the onion I need to peel back. Like, I want people to understand that your cultural significance goes beyond the jewelry you made, the connections you have. Like, you had your hand in some of the greatest music ever made in this culture. So just rewind just for a minute,
Right.
and talk about Reasonable Doubt and your relationship to that album.
Okay, so I get a job at Priority, thanks to Dr. Dre, and he's coming to this place that I'm DJing at called Creek Alley, Jamaican restaurant that Denzel Washington owned. Just being the main house DJ there, that place alone, I think everything built up for me to be there, right? And waiting outside to see Denzel Washington outside on Melrose, and he had two restaurants within a block of each other. One was Georgia Soul Food Restaurant, one of the great. I love that place. I missed it so much. And diagonally across the street was 40 Acres and a Mule, Spike Lee's joint, right? I was a huge Spike fan. Never got to really meet him like that. And then now the other diagonal side, pyramid-wise, which would make a triangle, was Creek Alley, Jamaican bar restaurant. And I DJ'd there, I ended up meeting Tupac there. I DJ'd Jada Pinkett's birthday. I did the Black Grammys, Black Oscars, you name it. So I met Dre there, boom. He was in a situation where he felt like, I don't think I'm going to bring you to death row. I didn't really know what was going on. I was really outside looking in. And he connected me with this dude named Sam Snead. Sam Snead, unbelievable producer, difficult situation that he got put up in, man, really sucks. And he was doing a lot of producing under ghost names because of, I guess, his publishing situation with Death Row and with Suge. So anyways, I get to meet Brian Turner, legendary dude and Jewish, fellow Jew. And I get a job. And now I didn't work in the mailroom or nothing. They felt like I had enough of a street ear. And so I'm working as an A&R manager. There's two A&Rs above me. And long story short, within about a year or so, I had taken both their positions, right? I had signed a couple of people. We had Razkaz. We had a lot of groups that were just kind of like just doing things. I had not really like taken to the next level. So this guy named Tony De Niro, his name at the time was T Smooth. He was a first round draft pick for the Kansas City Chiefs. He was national championship in Notre Dame. He was a fly dude. He was engaged to Jada Pinkett. He was dating Halle Berry. Just this dude was everywhere. And I was like, yo, man, I just want to be a part of this dude's somehow something. I feel like if I get to him, he can connect me with people. So I meet him one time at the Hollywood Athletic Club. This was right across the street from Priority Records. Hollywood Athletic Club was a billiards place, but it was like they had music and people would go there and hang out. And it was popping. A lot of people would go there. And he goes, yo, I got some music to play you now that you're in the business. Because I was always talking to him as a fan. I got something for you. So I'm in my office. He comes, he brings Faith Evans into my office. And I'm like, oh, shit, this is Biggie's wife. I'm like tripping, boom. And he's like, yeah, man, I got this R&B group. And I got this production deal with Def Squad. He goes, you know what that is? I'm like, come on, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how could you tell me that? Like, bro, like, I'm a fucking enormous fan of all these people. So we sit down. This group is called The Truth. It's 3 girls from Texas. And I signed them immediately. So as I signed them, all I'm thinking about is finally I have something that Priority has never done before. A hip hop R&B. I brought Eric Sermon in here. Brian Turner owns the publishing. He owns the masters of EPMD's first 2 albums. Okay, owns the masters at Priority. So I'm just like, yo,
are you fucking kidding me?
I'm dead serious. He owned it. So
wow.
He owned EPMD, Strictly Business, and then also this What You Saying album is what is it?
Strictly Business.
They're Strictly Business, wasn't it? Yeah, they're in front of the cars, the Corvette and the Benz. So, so now we're doing this deal.
Business as usual. Sorry.
Yeah. All these people coming through, boom, and I get to meet everybody. Now he's put this collective together and everything going on. So there is a distributed labels. At the time, distributed labels was an enormous thing for us, but we're distributing like really hardcore underground rap. SIBO, No Limit was there. And I would butt heads with Master P every single day, but he was doing a lot of business because, this independent thing, like, he's moving a shit ton of records, like to move 300, 400,000 units back in the day independently in a game where, now, whatever, but it's like, it was really a crucial time in hip hop. And the guy that was running the area, the distributed labels for Mark Cerami. Mark Cerami ran distributed. Brian Turner ran Priority, like the new acts. And the guy who ran distributed labels was a guy named Dave Weiner, another fellow Jew. No, whatever, you would never think he was Jewish or anything, but we would joke about shit. And so this new album is coming in, and I'm hearing the demo in the office, and I just hear the Dead President thing. I'm looking out for presidents to represent me, you know, and I'm like, the fuck is this? I'm hearing this dude rap, and I'm like, I like his voice, you know? And I was like, what else he got? And I hear the song with Mary J, and I'm like, oh shit, this is the hit. Now, after a short amount of time, I'm talking to Andrew Shack, who's our head of our business affairs, and Howie's also part of it. He's part of business affairs, and we're like, yo, we're doing this deal. And I'm like, okay, so what's the deal? Is it P&D? Is it, for people who don't know what that means, press to distribute? Is it going to be a certain thing? Boom. At a certain point, our independent marketing was so good that when we had the movie Friday, the soundtrack was doing so well that New Line, or is it New Line Media, right? Or is it? Mm-hmm. They stopped even promoting Friday because we were cushioning so more, and people were like, what the fuck? I don't get it. And Brian Turner says, you know what? It's in our best interest to promote this movie and promote this because first, this is our first film, and the better we do, the more albums we sell. So what's we're gonna do? So we kind of did that with Master P, with whatever. So I said, okay, so why am I being involved in this? Because this ain't this West Coast Bad Boys, which is one of the compilations that Master P had. This is something different. And I'm like, all right, so how do I get involved? Well, you already are involved technically because you're head of A&R. I'm like, all right, cool. So I hear the thing, boom, we're putting out, I'm trying to just chop this up as quick as possible. But, we put out the first single. First single is the Mary J. Blige, track number 2. And the B-side is Ain't No N-Word, right? And I'm like, all right, I'll fuck with this right here because it reminds me of It's Your Thing, right? EPMD, doom, the whole darn thing, right? Was that what it was?
Yep,
and
it was.
Yeah.
I keep you fresher than the next chick. No need.
Okay, fuck around. I fuck with her too. Boom. So it was all like making sense and everything. Boom. So now Biggs, Jay, Hip Hop, Dame, they're all coming through Priority a lot. Boom. We're blending. We're cool. Me and Biggs vibe like this. Immediately, I just love this guy. Had no idea he was younger than me, which was crazy because New York people, they make moves at early ages. You know what I'm saying? They're just making moves. And so, we start rapping, we start talking about certain things, talking about marketing, talking about product development. I'm like, yo, wait a second, hold on. Are we doing the marketing for this again? And again, it's in our best interest to push this record as best as we could.
Of course.
And, these are prime Jay-Z days, you know what I'm saying? Like doing radio tours, doing radio shows, taking him to the Beverly Center. He's wearing like a JT, the Bigger Figure t-shirt with denim shorts and Jordans on. Do you know what I mean? Going to Jacksonville for a fucking radio show, and he's staying at like a 2.5-star hotel, and he's complaining about it. And I'm like, God damn. And, just like funny things, and seeing Jay, and I'd be like, all right, cool. And I never really thought too much of him, but he was able to get, Big's attention. He was able to get, Mary J on the album, boom, whatever. And, he had this Lexus GS300 touring edition car. I ended up getting a Lexus GS300, which I was living beyond my means of getting it, but it was like he influenced that. And we talked, and I had the R&B group, The Truth, and that was my main focus. Reasonable Doubt was like my second focus. Now, this is early on. This is like not even really coming out. We started pushing the record to radio. Ain't No, and the B-side with the Mary J joint ends up going gold. So I get my first official plaque from that. I had plaques from Masterpiece, but this was like a different thing. Friday, it's kind of like, come on, I'm doing A&R coordination, like sequencing, like, come on, like what am I doing? But this was something I was pushing. I was doing other things. And so now Jay's got a gold record, okay? First gold record, and we're talking. And I'm so loyal to Def Squad. They have made me a part-time tour DJ. I'm obsessed with Redman. I'm a huge fan of Reggie Noble. I'm a huge fan of Redman, Keith Murray, even Jamal, Lil Jamal, right, from Illegal. Like, I'm a huge fan of Eric Sermon, right? I'm like, if Eric told me 2 + 2 = 5, I'd be like, damn, does it though? Really? Maybe it does, right? So I didn't know that there was not real beef, but there was slightly a little beef between the two. And so these are things you wouldn't just necessarily hear unless you kind of were in the thing. And I guess the story was Keith Murray crashed Big's E-Class Benz. And I don't want to talk about this like this, but there was some beef, and I think Biggs had got into it with him, boom. So now I have the R&B group, The Truth, and I'm playing people a record. And the record is, I'm telling you right now, Serch, man, I wish I could I'm going to find it and play this record. It was an amazing record. The crazy thing is, at the end of the day, we put $1.5 million into this R&B group, and it didn't do shit. There was so many amazing things. I had Missy write half the album. She wasn't even signed yet. That's how dope it was. Missy was working on Aaliyah's album at the time, 1 in a Million. I had Faith vocal coach them. She was on a song. There was so much crazy shit. So my brain wasn't focused on Reasonable Doubt. All right. Now we're starting an East Coast division. We just got ducked down. So we got that. We got Organized Confusion. We got me and Drew Hard. And I'm a huge Black Moon fan. So me and Buckshot get along like crazy. So Smith & Wesson are in the office. And they're playing track 6, I think. Track 6 in my office. And they're like, yo, damn, this is fucked up saying this, man. Like, yo, you playing yourself right now. So what do you mean? You got all this Ice Cube shit. It's like, yo, you playing. And there was weird things. Like in the New York East Coast office, they took Mac 10's platinum plaque and threw it in the trash can. Like they were doing shit like that. It was funny shit, right, going on. And, you know, again, that was my thing, playing both sides, right? I'm like, yo, what's FAP? Oh, Franklin Avenue Posse. Oh, okay, from East New York. What's boom? Oh, boom. Getting all this little slang, and I was trying to break down the West Coast shit to them. Like, nah, we don't want to hear none of that shit. You know, Sean Price, like, nah, rock and rock. Nah, dead that shit. So I'm in the office. Smith & Wesson is playing the Reasonable Doubt album, and the Evils comes out, and they're like, bruh, like, I'm not necessarily a West Coast beat type of dude, but you know, you hear that Snoop sample, Dear God, can you save me? And I was like, yo, maybe I'm not listening to this record. And this is you know, like a project that put on my lap. Like I should really like, you know, fuck with this album a little bit more. Reasonable Doubt goes platinum now, and it's still our record. And a lot is going on in my life. And me and Jay-Z walk past each other all the time. I had said some things he didn't like or whatever, boom, so we're not really cool. Me and Dame like this, me and Biggs are like this. And so Dame's like, yo, what's up with this R&B group you got? I'm like, yo, they lit, boom. I got this open song. I want to get Keith Murray on. And Dame's like, what the fuck you want to put Keith Murray on there? Let's put Jay on there. It's fucking crazy. Jay's a fucking Mike MJ. He's the new king of New York. I was like, oh, okay, sure, cool. You know, and again, I didn't think he was going to be a big star. You know what I mean? It was something that fell in my lap. There were songs on there that I liked. And for sure, I ain't going to lie to you. That album is, now when I break it back, I'm like, I've told Jay, that's my favorite album that you've done, blah, blah, whatever. And he's like, yo, me too. And it's a great thing. It just, in hindsight, I couldn't see it in front of my face. You might have a beautiful woman in front of you and not appreciate her. You might cheat on her, blah, blah, whatever. And you realize later, what the fuck was I thinking, right? It's not like a good story. I'm not telling you like, oh, I was there. We are there. I was telling Jay, yeah, man, this shit's dope. I was like almost the opposite. I would walk into their marketing meeting and Jay, fucking, you know, Ford Rockefeller guys are inside a small company, and I would play truth music. And they'd be like, and my, you know, even my the marketing director would be like, artist development would be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Fuck out of my office. Like, why are you playing them shit? This shit is. So I could have had Jay on this album, and I opted for Keith Murray, right? It was a weird situation. So the album goes platinum. I get my platinum album. Now I'm not even going to the shows anymore. The legendary show at the Apollo Theater with Jay and Big, the legendary, you know what I'm saying? Like the politics as usual, crowd going crazy in Harlem. I didn't even go to the show. And people are like, yo, what is going on with you? And I'm like, bro, Dr. Dre just offered me the head and A&R position at Black Market Records. And they're like, damn, Black Market Records. It wasn't Aftermath yet. That was what he was calling it. They're like, yo. Now, the crazy thing is I just signed a contract extension for employment with Brian. My mind was out the door. I was the reason why I'm even in anything was because I'm such a big Dr. Dre fan that I was like, yo, I'm about to, you know, make this move. So, you know, I would say I did a lot of more A&R administration for Reasonable Doubt. And I did a lot of other things as far as make some decisions with like, you know, how budgets are allocated. But, you know, it was a legendary time that I reflect back on and wish, you know, had I not been such a dick or such a little prick and show Jay the respect that he deserved back then, I think me and him, our relationship would have been different. Now, there's no beef or anything. I'm just saying it would have been a different thing. Me and Biggs to this day is my guy. Me and Biggs have jokes. We talk. There's a lot of things we go on. And he's still back in the business now. He's got St. John.
Oh, I was going to say St. John is one of my favorite new artists of the year. He's brilliant.
I didn't really count. I was like, I don't know about this dude. I don't know. And my excuse was I just said, hey, man, I don't know about music. And I think St. John took it offensively, too. We still talk, but he's like, man, this motherfucking baller really ain't fuck with me. And I was like, fuck, Ben, you know? But, like, we're cool. It was like a weird thing. We cool. Me and Dame are good. It's
People don't really understand, though, New Yorkers, when we say, yo, fuck that dude. We don't really mean it like, fuck that dude. West Coast dudes, when they, say, fuck you, they want to jig you. They want to fuck you up. Like, they're not like, when you say, come on, man, fuck you, man. Like, Q be like, yo, the fuck you mean? Like, we're like, yo, fuck that dude. Like, the F word is like, it's like, That's what the F word means, Like, so, it has no real weight.
So, and I have no problem saying this, like, there's times, look, everyone's going to tell you, when something hits, they're always like, oh, man, I knew from day one, boom. I was the opposite for this particular thing. I can't think of anything else, but this thing I didn't think was, I'm sorry, Rockefeller, Jay-Z, I didn't think he was going to be big. I said it at the 20th anniversary of RD.
And I was going to say that, like, when you did that presentation, it's one of my favorite, like, I've watched it and I've heard about it. And, obviously I didn't bear witness, but I loved your honesty about because a lot of people, when you got to that stage, they were like, wait a minute, what's Ben's connection to Reasonable Doubt? Like,
we're actually big in music, and
right.
One from me was wondering why I was the host of the 20-year anniversary and why they're doing it in LA, boom, and all this weird stuff, and they couldn't figure it out. And there was a point on Sunday, it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On Sunday, I think, like YG the rapper, he wanted to come in. Some people came in, they're like, wait a second, there was only 10 people in there, and they're all the people that, I think Guru did show up, not Guru, Gangstar, but obviously Guru. But like, hip hop, Kayamba was there. The people that were involved in that first album, they were there. And I hadn't seen some of them in a really long time. And some of them been like, how the fuck did you get out of music and turn into a jeweler? Like, what the fuck? And then the other
and that's got to be the next question. Like, I'm really fiending to know that because, you were the quintessential successful A&R guy. Like, right. Bro, like, be clear. Like, you were what a lot of people aspire to, and you just walked away from it like it wasn't shit.
Yeah, and you know what? I know I said whatever. Don't worry about it. Whatever's going on, we're gonna keep this going because there's too much to talk about that's important. And I'm like, now the ball is rolling. So, okay. When people see me at that thing, and throughout the last 20 years, Biggs has told people, like, you joke all you want, he's a troll, blah, blah. But he's OG Rockefeller. No matter what his opinion was here and there, whether he didn't necessarily think that was going to happen. And Big says, I didn't think that Jay was going to be gigantic. And I was, a part of the, COO of Rockefeller Records. Ben still rocked with us. And then when I had left and went to Aftermath, that whole situation had happened. They were leaving, Priority for Def Jam. And, there was some, I'm not going to get into a little petty shit that was stupid. It's really not even important, but, they went to Def Jam. And then after that, obviously, Hard Knock Life came out and it just came over, right? Now, the thing is, because I was still in touch with all them, it was all good. It was all love. So when, the Hard Knock Life tour came out and things like that, Streets is Watching, all that stuff, I still have my Rockefeller Letterman jacket. I was still day one with them. It just was a different type of thing. And I'm on the West Coast. And there was a lot of weird things with the East and West. They never participated in that East Coast, West Coast beef. That was more a Death Row Bad Boy type thing. But there was a bad taste in people's mouths, right? So, I get to Aftermath. We got a lot of artists signed there. Shit, we had fucking like 9 fucking groups.
Dude, that special that you did with Angie Martinez that went across the country, the radio special with Dr. Dre. I don't even know if you know, but like Power 106 did a simulcast. It was the first time I'd ever seen, because I was doing radio promotion at the time as well. Angie Martinez did Emmis did a simulcast to showcase every artist that Aftermath had.
Right.
Every artist. And the last one was this kid from Detroit Name Eminem. But anyway, go ahead. But I'll let you continue. I'm sorry.
So at a certain point, real quickly, we had an amazing production team. We had Chris the Glove Taylor, who was Ice-T's DJ.
Amazing.
He produced Gin and Juice. Let's just get this out the fucking way. Him and Daz Dillinger produced Gin and Juice. We had a guy named Stu Fingers, who ended up being called Stooby Doo. Stu produced a lot of stuff. He was actually, which is crazy, black kid from Pittsburgh, was a classic pianist. So I was like, what the fuck? Like, great, what kind of shit you got going on here? Boom. Now we have Butter. I was in touch with Butter not that long ago. Butter produced the entire West Side Connection out, produced Bow Down, produced one of the big hits, but he was always Dre's producer, produced some huge things. And then we had I forgot his name, man. Jesus Christ. He started doing porno music, which is crazy. But we had Mailman, and he was the last thing that wasn't signed. And I remember we're doing the American Pimp soundtrack, the Hughes Brothers film that's supposed to come out. But we're supposed
DJ Yellow was involved in that too, right?
Don't remember exactly.
Okay, gotcha. No worries.
The thing fell on my lap. Dre sat us down. Totally different environment. I'm used to going to an office, walk up. I got an assistant. I got this. I run a department. Now Aftermath Entertainment comes, it's like, okay, there's an office. Anyone who's doing real shit ain't going to the office. The only person in the office was Curtis and a couple other people, and it was real small. It got smaller and smaller. And then our office was Record One, the legendary Record One in Sherman Oaks, California. Legendary, fucking from R. Kelly, gigantic albums, Michael Jackson, you name it. That was our studio. Excuse me. Working on these soundtracks. And Dr. Dre's like, hey, man, I need you and Michael in, who's the other A&R, says, you guys need to go and get as many fucking songs as you can, boom. And everything's got to be pimp related and all this other shit. So I'm hearing this track that Dre's producing in Studio B. He's got this Willie Hutch sample, the I Choose You Willie Hutch shit, you know what I mean, from the Mac. And he just throwing the strings in there, just made it magnificent, right? And at the time, there's a lot going on. Damn, my time's a little shaky. I think Biggie passed. And it's 97. We're going to New York City, and we're going to go there for a month or two until we get as much bass songs as we can. Eric Sherman happens to be in LA. Now, I bring E-Double to Record One, and he commits to doing songs, and Dre's like, okay, this motherfucker Ben, or young cat's bringing some heavy hitters in here. All right, we're going to have this shit cracking. I brought Federal Star in there to do a song with Sticky. For some reason, again, Dre had this liking for East Coast artists. He just always loved these, the East Coast little rappers. So Fredjo and Sticky, in return for me bringing them with Dre and connecting with like Tight Again, like bringing them to the house for Super Bowl parties and stuff, they introduced me to Big and got me cool with Biggie. I was like, oh shit, never met him before, but then I met him, and it was like I made an impression on him. So I said, hey man, you want to be on this American Pip soundtrack? You should jump on this thing, boom. And then I remember we fly to New York, and I'm just working on things, whatever. I'm at the Bowery Bar, seeing Diddy, seeing all this shit, partying, hanging out, and everything else. And then Dre's like, yo, the Grammys are out there. And I was like, oh, that's right, the Grammys are in New York City, 97. That's right, cool. And he goes, hey, man. So I'm up for Best Duo for Grammy for California Love, me and Tupac. Now, I don't think we're going to win. But if we do, I'd like you to go and accept my Grammy on behalf of African Entertainment. I'm like, what? Asian dude, Asian guy is going to go into Times Square, Midtown, and accept it. I'm just saying, I know, look, he didn't win, but imagine like how fucking crazy, right? Like I'm going to walk down and say, hey, on behalf of African Entertainment, I accept this award for Dr. Dre, boom.
You're the original Asiatic black man, dude.
Right, crazy. So all this shit is going on. I'm meeting with people and everything. And the soundtrack doesn't really, it kind of falls apart. So now the next thing on our thing is Dre's like, hey, don't worry about it. Look, we got this project going on right now called The Firm. We got AZ, Foxy Brown, Nature, and Nas. We're about to get this deal done with the track masters, Steve Stout, boom. And so we got to get this cracking. We're going to start recording this in Miami is how it goes. I'm like, oh, you know what? Dre's always been a huge fan of Nas. It's been like a fucking enormous fan of Nas. So we start getting these things. We're starting to get beat submissions going. Now, I don't mean beat submissions like we're going to fucking, hey, what's fucking Pete Rock doing, a blah, blah. No, it was what's Aftermath, boom, doing. So I said, yo, Mel, man, give me like 10 beats, like your real beats. It's like, man, ain't no one fucking me over here, bro. I'm about to go back home to Pittsburgh, man. Ain't shit going on. And I'm like, no, bro, check it out. Give me some motherfucking beats. We're going to place this on this album. Mailman sends us a thing. That sure enough, I get 2 placements on the firm album from track 9, track 11, and Mailman got these songs on there. And then Mel ends up getting signed. Now, the crazy part was Butta was the big ass producer there, and Stu was a big ass producer. There was a lot going on. The firm didn't do what it was supposed to do. I think it barely did, maybe double platinum. But like at that time, you know, anything under 5 times platinum was like disrespectful for Dre. If he didn't go huge, it was like, you know, it looked bad upon us. So people were saying the rumor on the streets was Aftermath is falling apart, ain't shit happening, blah, blah, whatever. They're washed up. So, and on top of that, Jimmy had cut some funding, I think. So now Aftermath Entertainment was a production company. It wasn't even a record label. It was a production company deal. It's a weird situation. I think Jay had a lot going on in his mind. I physically remember Suge coming to Dre's house to pick up masters. And I'm like, yo, Bruce, man, you got a gun? And he's like, yeah, I got a gun. Well, then go the fuck out there, bro. I was scared to death. I've been scared to death very few times in my life. But Suge just scared the fuck out of me at that. You know, he was fucking crazy. So all this shit going on, Butta and Stu decided to leave. They're like, fuck this. Like, and I think Dre had tipped them like, yo, man, I don't need y'all. So if you guys want to go ahead and do your thing. They had thought that they were so hot that they're like, fuck this, let's go leave. And I think Butta ended up doing some cool things. He worked on I forgot what wasn't the Boondocks, wasn't it? There's there was a black animated comic show. This was like late 90s. What was that? I feel like you would know what it was. Anyways.
The only one I remember is the Boondocks.
Maybe it was that. Then they left, though. So now Mel is the only guy there. Krista Taylor, everyone left. So Mel becomes the main dude. Do you know what I'm saying? And now someone named Marshall Mathers comes to the label. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm a little sick because there was a legendary rapper from Compton that I was an enormous fan was growing up, listening to his records. I remember taking the bus to high school, listening to his music and thinking, wow, I am this dude's A&R. And this album is fucking phenomenal. I almost called like Kingdom Come, and the rapper's name was King T, right? And I'm on this album, I'm doing this record, I just want this album to come out. It was so well done. Dre produced most of the tracks. We had Too Short on there. He was about to get a song with Biggie. Biggie was even down. I had Mike Dean, legendary Houston rap a lot producer, come and do some shit. And, you know, just a bunch of things kept getting shelved. So I just felt like, yo, man, this ain't really me, you know? Like, I feel like I'm here, we got weapons, but nothing's coming out, you know? And then Marshall comes in and, you know, lo and behold, he saves the fucking label. You know, I don't know if Dre would take that in the wrong way, but
no. But one of the things I'll share with you is one of my dear friends named James Lopez. He was there with you and your team. He was head of marketing for Aftermath, or maybe Aftermath / Interscope. But I know he was there. We talk about this all the time because he's now the head of production with Will Packer, and Curtis and I talk about this all the time. And when Dre said he was going to release Marshall, there was anything but a white rapper. Please, for the love of everything, please don't put out the white boy. Like, please, it's a mistake. Like, no one's checking for no white boy. Like, it was really one of those things. And obviously, lo and behold, you know, Marshall does what he does, and continues to do what he does in building this amazing bond. But your pivot from, and it's funny because I was talking to my bride about this, and she said, how does a guy with no background in jewelry, how does a guy who is a middle-class kid like you, Michael, how does a guy who loves hip-hop become the most influential jeweler and not be a Jew? Like, I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask Ben.
So this is a funny thing. How crazy is this? I admired jewelry all my life. I bought silver here and there. My first real jewelry was when Dre gave me a big $100,000 check, right? I bought a Benz, I bought a Rolex, I bought a chain. Dre had a jeweler come to the studio. And my cousin goes, hey, man, I can make that. You know, my dad can make this. We make jewelry. Like, why can't you do this? And I'm like, Nah, man. He goes, introduce me to Bone Thug. Introduce me to somebody I live in the same building as Tupac. I live in the same building as like all kinds of shit. Russell was dating some, I don't give a fuck Russell here. Russell's my dog. Russell was dating fucking Sally Richardson at the time. She lived in my building, and I'd see Russ pull up here and there. Me and Russ will have dinners here and there, and boom. Like I said, half my family is Jewish. So that was another weird thing, right? Like obviously I have the 6.
Right. You got Star David.
So, I got intrigued. That where the spark started. And I left music for a little bit, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to DJ. This is the time for me to DJ and make my money. I said, I'm going to make my money real quick, and I'm just going to fucking do this. So I started DJing. I'm DJing nightclubs now 3-4 nights a week. Me and Rock Ronson are doing some spots together. Me and my crew member, AMC, DJ Am, we're doing stuff together. And I come back to Aftermath. And I started working with Hitman, who I went to high school with. Hitman.
What year is this? I'm sorry. What year is this?
99.
99.
2001 came out before 2000, right. The year 2001. So I come back and I'm working with, Hit wrote damn near half the album, if not more. He's the only artist with a solo out song on the album. Boom. We started working. Boom. Hitman's like, I want you to be my DJ. And I'm like, let's go, John. You name it. Up and Smoke, whatever the fuck. I'm DJing. Boom, we're here. And Hitman and Marshall didn't get along so good because Kid is a great writer. He wrote that entire album. Obviously forgot about Dre. That was M's thing, whatever, boom. And there was other shit. Jay wrote still Dre here and there. But, there was weird things. And we're making a song in Studio B again. Studio B was the smaller studio. Studio was a big one. But like some of the main hits came out of Studio B. And I'm in there and Pharrell Munch calls to get a beat from Dre. Like I'm in the studio and Dre's like, nah, man, I can't do this beat right now. Jadakiss calls, and he's with my boy, Keg. Jadakiss trying to get a beat from Dre, and Jada's at Interscope and stuff. Nah, boom. So making this song, kicked everyone out of the studio. It's just me, Dre, Hit, and a dude named Pesci, who's an engineer. And Dre's doing this thing, and I'm like, I'm gonna do a scratch insert right here. Let me just hit, man. And then we're just sitting there listening to a beat, and he's chopping up this beat, and he's making the snare a gun click. So it's not like, it's not like a snap, it's a boom. End up being a 50 Cent song on his first album. And then Dre looks over, he's on the SSL board, and he goes like this, he goes, hey, Ben Yang. Refuse to call me Ben Baller. Refuse to call me Ben Baller. Call me Ben Yang. They said, yo, hey, Ben Yang, are you making records yet? And when Dre said that, I felt every bit of my entire body had went into liquid form, like Terminator fucking 2. It just went and fell on the floor. My ego, everything that I had, all my bones, everything just mushed into liquid and fell out of my body. Because at that point, I had always wanted to be a producer. I always wanted to make beats. I was always such an enormous fucking fan of the Chocolate Boy Wonder, Pete Rock, Diamond D, all of them. It was just like I felt like I didn't know where to begin. I owned an MPC. I fuck with drums here and there. And he goes, Ben, man, all these years I've known you. Do you know, in high tech, other people will kill themselves to get my drum loops. You have access to them. And you never thought about being a producer. You fucking hang around. You're here all day like you're a fucking studio rat. What, why? And I was like, I don't know, man. Why don't you tell me this sooner? He goes, why the fuck do I got to tell you this? I'm just saying, I can't believe you being a DJ, you mixing records here and there. Like, I don't understand how you didn't think to make beats. At that moment right there, not only did my music career end, my DJing, everything, I was like, yo, at that point, I finished up a couple clubs that I had that I was doing on Saturday nights. I was pre-recording my mixes, okay, onto a DAW player, playing them in the fucking place, lock the DJ booth, and I'd bring a little 8-inch television and play Xbox. I even did pre-recorded shout-outs because I knew people would be in the club that night, and I just said, yo, dude, I just can't do this. Hit up my cousin, and I said, hey, bro, what's up with this jewelry shit? And he's like, hey, man, if you come in, this is how it's going to be and blah, blah. So I decided to take a little time off and travel. I had a little bit of money, and I said, I need to figure this out. Then when I started realizing, hey, man, money goes fast. You got no income coming in. I need to figure this out. And sure enough, I said, I think I could do this, man. I had a couple of different opinions. I was going to start a little barbershop with white T-shirts and Air Force Ones and have people come in like a novelty store. I was going to do a Mr. Cartoon, and I was just like, damn, I don't know. Music just ain't, I hate the business, I hate this. And Dre just broke my spirit. like I need to become a jeweler. So one thing I did learn from Dre, because Dre taught me a lot of things about business, which I think we talk about business as much as we talked about music. And he said the importance of ownership. This is early 2000s, right? And I was like, all right, well, I told my cousin the Korean way, and I see a lot of Jewish people do business like this as well. You know, you do a handshake and it's like, all right, cool. You know, you don't need to start an LLC or whatever. Boom. It's just, you know, we're just going to do business and we're going to split the profits. And that's what it is. And I remember my mom having a falling out with her brothers and sisters over money, over contracts and things. And if you have everything legal, everything's there in black and white, you know, things are kosher. So I told my cousin, hey, listen, man, look, you guys are in this booth here. I don't care if we go to the booth in the back. I don't care if we leave the slots and swap meet. But we have to just start the energy in a new place. And we got to get paperwork so we see the splits. And I want to know exactly what's going on. That's all I want. And they were cool with it. I thought it was very weird. They're like, no, we're just going to, you know, here's 10,000. Okay, here's 3,000 for you, 3,000 for you, 3,000, you know, boom. I was like, no, that's not going to work. So, you know, we started a new business, become a jeweler. And my boy Lulu, he was driving. He was kind of doing like a security, but like he's like a good, what's the word, man? Kind of like someone who can tell you a host, a liaison, like
A concierge.
Concierge too, but like, hey, this is the part of the hood you ain't trying to be at. You know, I'm tired with this hood, boom, here and there. He was driving Nallis and Pusha around.
Yeah. He's a hood concierge. My man's Dave New York, may rest in peace. That's what he did.
So he was driving around, and they had a dude that was a real street dude. I think that the clips rapped about, named Jeezy, spelled Geeezy.
I know.
Yeah. So
doing 130 years right now. I caught with 12 tons of white. That was my man, by the way. Jeezy was my man. We was to
from boom. We started being something. So I make my first hip hop chain ever, and it was the Clips logo. Now, what the full circle moment was, Cartoon was like, you can't do this store with me, dog. Especially like, no, bro, you're too badass, bro. You're too talented. You're too dope. Like, you're going to run a fucking barbershop and like a novelty. No, bro, get the fuck out of here. You need to go do your thing. And we were bumping heads because he was my mentor, but there was a lot. My ego was crazy. And I think Cartoon was just being very nice. And the full circle moment was, I never knew that Cartoon designed that Clips logo. The actual.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Logo. So I made my first hip hop chain. Then after that, my boy Mark Sudak, New York cat, I'm knowing everything, boom. He was dating Mariah Carey. They're very serious, dating, they were going for a while. He actually ended up being an EP on the Emancipation of Mimi. And me and Mark have been friends for a long time. I remember we were in the Hamptons one time, and his family had a Range Rover, and they wanted to bring Jay, Biggs, and Dame over to the Synergy Spa, which is in Hamptons, and bring them over to this house. And they didn't want to bring them in a regular car. They want to bring them in a nice car, so they used Mark Sudak's car. But Mark's like, I ain't letting you guys take my parents' car without me in it. It was just a funny thing. We had ties together. So Mark's like, hey, bro, I'm willing to help you out. I know you're starting out your business, but why don't you make a chain let's make Mariah Carey's logo. And I have her wear it in the video. Sure enough, she wore it in the video with Bone Thugs, boom. So that was like another celebrity on my belt. Jacob the jeweler got arrested for embezzling $300 million for Black Mafia family, right, from BMF.
Mm-hmm.
At that moment, with plugging with the right people, immediately, Diddy, Game, Nas, here and there. Never in a million years, I think I make the Nas N chain, the fucking N logo chain, right? Which he told me Khalees took that shit. I'm like, what are you talking about? Why are you telling me this shit? I remixed the QB chain, the infamous QB chain. I made Game, his double Game chains, which he rapped about in song One Blood. You know, it started Fat Joe, started making Fat Joe's jewelry. And he's been one of the most famous persons, like who is, you look at Fat Joe and you just put his name is always brought up with jewelry. And in a way, my idol of why I wanted to become jeweler from Jacob going to jail ended up being a blessing in disguise. And so I started getting all these clients. I didn't know what to do. So at that point, I said, hey man, I don't want to just sell jewelry. I'm such a detailed guy. Like even with DJing, I always brought little alcohol spray and wipes and cleaned my Autophone styluses, and boom, and had the best headphones. So I just was always about detail with design. And I said, I gotta learn how to do this shit. So I took some night classes on jewelry, CAD design, from fucking wax carving to even setting. And my uncle had taught me a lot of things. I said, yo man, we can't rely on these other people to outsource them because they might not be. So I need to do this myself. And, you know, long story short, I just developed and more. And I think I was so good at marketing that it might have been my calling to be in this. And I still even had doubts 5 years later. The recession hit, and you realize, yo, man, it was the worst recession I've ever seen in my lifetime. 08, 09. I'm like, yo, why are people gonna buy jewelry? It's a luxury item. People are losing the shirt off their back. Stockbrokers are fucking losing their houses, and boom. And I'm like, I need to figure something out. So I figured, you know what? Rap is still out there. Rappers still need to shine. Yes, big chains are the shit, but let me think of something in that $2,000 to $7,000 range that is cool and classy, and some of these older cats can wear. And sure enough, you see LeBron, Jay, other guys wearing smaller chains. I created and patented the micro Jesus piece. Jesus piece obviously originated in New York City from Tito, from the district, right? Manny, New York, Jacob, all these New York legends. And I respected, I did my research on it. So I patented that, and that hit. And then in 2010, I came back with a vengeance. In 2012, 13, 14, 15, and then obviously 2017, ASAP Ferg came out with the song Plain Jane, and shit, I ended up trademarking it. It's an enormous business for me now, multi-million dollars. And, you know, the rest is history. There's a lot in between that I didn't talk about, but that's how, you know, I mean, my jewelry legacy is laid out.
But it's also become something that it's beyond jewelry, and it's something that I respect you so much for. You've become a curator of culture. And you've utilized your eye to not only identify great jewelry, but also utilizing your eye and your brand for great branding. Not only, you know, dolls that you've done, outside things that you've done, but I shared with you that I bought your Topps painting of Doc Gooden.
Thank you so much.
Because, first of all, because I'm a Queens kid, and the greatest moment of my life was 1986 when they won the series. And that's actually, it's such a funny conversation that I had with Roger Clemens, because I'm so glad they pulled him off the fucking mound in the sixth inning for the fake, you know, blood blister that he, by the way, admitted he never had on his hand. Him and McNamara, it was a wrap. Like after that, he never had a blister. McNamara was like, son, you're done. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm not done. I can finish this game. And McNamara was like, no.
Is that public info?
I'm sorry?
Is that like information people know, or? No.
It was exclusive on my podcast. He broke it on my podcast. He never had a blood blister ever on his finger. Never happened. So when I saw that, there was this combination of love for Doc, obviously, because of the Mets, but then because it was you, and because and you did it in the Houston OG style of.
Queens. You know what I mean? So like Flushing, Queens, I had cousins there, and they would tell me, I'm like, listen, fuck the Mets. I don't give a fuck about the Mets. Like, yo, bitch, if you don't put the Shea Apple in there, I swear to God, I'm like, what are you gonna do? Tell me what are you gonna do? The pen and pixel.
And like, yo, I was like, yo, and you did the pen and pixel thing, and I'm like, and I think I shared this with you. Like, it was an impulse buy. I was really in a bad place, like an emotionally bad place. I had just made a huge mistake with a dear friend on a show that actually hurt my relationship. I was really making an impulse buy to like make myself feel better. And I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, no, this is done. I don't care how much it is. This is done. And then my wife was like, what'd you buy last night? And I'm like, but it's Ben Baller. And she's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck who it is. Return that shit. And I'm like, I can't return. I tried to return it. I found out I can't return it. Honey, I'm sorry, but it's Ben Baller. But yo, like you've curated culture, and I want to know for myself, and I don't care if anybody else even wants to know. I want to know for myself. What's that conversation like when you walk into a Supreme or you walk into a Topps, and they say, we want you to do something with us? What's that conversation like for you, and where does that partnership have to land for you to feel comfortable to do what you do?
So, for all the time, in a way, I think I've complained so much in my life that I wasn't getting my due diligence, and I think that I didn't have all the representation, even on my reality TV show and whatever, all this stuff. I feel like, man, these guys ain't doing enough. And it's like, look, there's a lot of people who feel the same, and I'm like, well, fuck you guys, because you ain't me. So I don't care what your situation is. I don't care. Phil Jackson said, never having expectations, be disappointed. I love Phil Jackson, but fuck you too. Like, I expect more out of life. I demand more out of life, I feel like I put a lot of work in. So with that said, for the longest time, whether it be social media, whatever, I was Ben Baller way before social media ever existed. I was who I am before social media existed, right? Before I was a jeweler, I was A&R slash, producer executive that had 21 platinum albums, credits, whatever, boom. I said, man, people need to fucking this is bullshit. I'm sick and tired of talking about myself. As much as people think I do like it, I'm like, man, can someone flex for me? Can someone do something for me? Can someone help me out? And sure enough, I signed with XLSM, one of the biggest sports marketing agencies in the world. Tiger Woods, Peyton Manning, Derek Jeter, enormous roster of young people from Tyler Hero and just people like that, CJ McCollum. And I was like, look, what's going on here? Like, okay, you're one of the handful, less than like 2 or 3 guys that we've signed that aren't even pro athletes. And I'm like, no shit, I know this. So what's going on? So we're trying to do this influencer thing. I was like, I'm not an influencer. I don't like that word. I hated that word. I'm not like, I'm a different thing. Just people fuck with me somehow. No matter how many hairs I got, at the end of the day, people buy things, they fuck with my designs and whatever it is. So let's figure this out. My agent was very real with me. He said, hey, Ben, I'm going to tell you this real quick. This ain't for you. I'm like, what do you mean that ain't for me? Let's get some money. But no, Ben, this ain't for you. You're too rough. You're too brash. You're too real for shit. So you just don't have you're not polished enough for this. If it was something else, cool. And when he said it, it made sense to me. And I was like, you're right. Okay. I get it. Like, people who are watching, they're watching TV. They don't want to see me say that I use Dove soap. Like, I may be a little too abrasive for that brand. I get it. Thank you. So when the Topps conversation came around, I wasn't anybody they even wanted. They had 20 artists for this project. I was the last person they chose, and they had to do some convincing. And I said, you know what, Doug? I don't even care about baseball cards. I fuck with it. I'm for but like, you know what? Let them do what the fuck they want. So they had these conversations back and forth. Boom. Next thing you know, they're like, hey, man, Ben, we want you to lead the project. And I was like, all right, cool. So I lead the project. I don't understand how I really didn't do any homework. I didn't study. And now the test is here. And, the card comes out, and we're in the middle of the pandemic. I'm like, yo, this is bad timing, blah, blah. So I'm doing my thing, and I'm doubting myself. And I'm like, fuck it. Let's do it. So I sell 1,384 cards. And I'm thinking, oh, that's great, man. Shit, boom. So I'm feeling myself. I'm thinking about jewelry, thinking about other things. And I'm talking shit on my social media. I'm going live. Like, yeah, man, bro, like, they got 20 artists. I'm out here, though. But, I got one of the best-selling cards, yada, yada, yada. And little did I know that I thought the cards sold out. But what it was the print-to-order thing. In 48 hours, sell as many as you can. So all these guys that were the other artists in there, like 17 of them, I don't know. 2 of them I know very well, John C. and Mr. Cartoon. Another 17, I don't really know. But they don't like the fact that I'm kind of bragging, whatever, boom, I have a pretty large social media presence. So they all kind of, conjugate. And they're like, yo, let's humble this guy, Ben Ball. Let's humble him down real quick. Like, hey, just so you know, 6 other guys sold more than that. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, bro, my card sold out. Like, your card didn't sell out, man. They're like, you're such a newbie, blah, blah. You're just an old dude. You don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. So watch this next card. My next card is Mike Trout. They're like, oh, it's the best card anyway. Do you know what I mean? So, like, Mike Trout's the best card of the whole thing. He's the only card that's current. So you're going to sell amazing balls. I was like, listen, shh. Let me show you who Ben Baller is. Okay?
Say less.
Yes, I wasn't humble when I was broke. I was talking shit when I had no money in my pockets. Why would I change now? Okay, just watch. Sure enough, I sell 36,000 cards. I break every single record there is. I didn't just I've outsold everyone by like 6-7 times. Now I'm on the front page of Beckett. I'm on this. There's media news. I'm on fucking MLB.com. ESPN does a story. Boom, and all this other stuff. And then now we kickstart the fucking project. Now shit starts popping. And everyone's like, all right, well, who could do this? Who could do this? And meanwhile, I'm doing bigger numbers. And then at the height of it, there was this bubble that went crazy. There was an artist named Keith Shore. I think he might be from New York. He had a Ken Griffey Jr. card that sold 100,000 cards. Now, mind you, I wasn't in the rotation to be anywhere near that bubble. So I helped somebody. I put my name on somebody's design because I put some diamonds on there. He sold 75,000, which was the second highest selling card. And I just helped. I didn't do anything. But had I had a card drop after that, I know for sure I would have ended up selling more than everybody. Now, when the project ended and we gathered everything, the next person beneath me was beyond 6 figures lower than me. I even lapped some people's projects by 5 or 6. And that's not the point I'm trying to make. It's just when you give me the instructions or some directions and I actually read them, all I need is one time to fuck up, like, all right, boom, here it is. Now, when I played ball in college, I felt like, all right, well, I'm in high school. I was like, damn, I could have been even better. But I felt like by the time I got to 13th grade, my freshman year in college, I was like, I could have, man, I would have been, it's too late. I'm in college now. So when I finished college, I was like, fuck, I could have been better. Could I have made the pros? No, but I needed that. I was always a year behind, I felt like. But in music, I wasn't necessarily a year behind, but I kind of was like, I wish I understood things better. I wish I read Kashif's book, Everything You Need to Know About the Music Business. I wish I read that in 94, 93. I just wish I knew certain things. Now with this, I'm a grown-ass man. I have all the world in front of me to do whatever the fuck I want. I just need to understand if there are some directions, if there's some parameters, whatever it may be, boundaries, I need to know what is and what I can and what I can't do. All right, there's no ceiling? Oh, shit, say less. Boom. So when I walk into a meeting with these people now, believe it or not, the money is a slight importance because I think money has to be there regardless. Money has to be there. I have to be somewhere in that range of where, okay, what's the greatest get? What is the worst get? All right, as long as I'm somewhere, in there and it makes sense, cool. All right, let's get to the other part. Okay, how much creativity or how much like freedom do I have to do my designs? Okay, cool. All right. Is this going to change this thing? Whether it be Japanese toys, dolls, whether it be clothing, whether it be, now this is baseball cards. This is America's favorite pastime. This is, 70 years that these cards have been out. Who in a million years would have seen a Dwight Gooden with a chain, with fucking the Shea Apple, with Pen and Pixel, No Limit Records type diamond letters, boom, with lightning in the back and just all kinds of shit? Who would have seen all kinds of things in a baseball card and me bring hip hop into all my designs? There was very few designs that didn't have hip hop influence. Even Derek Jeter's had hip hop. I talked to Silk the Shock. I'm like, bro, I want your blessing. Like, fam, we owe Priority Family. Do you mind? He's like, oh man, go ahead and rock on, man. And I was like, all right, cool. Then
one of my personal favorites is George Brett has third base. My head in the back of it. I got 5 of those. I got 5 of those cards in my right next to my Ben Baller painting, not card. Be fucking clear, Ben. I didn't fucking buy a card, motherfucker. I bought the painting.
When I see you, I'm going to sign it special, and I'll put 1 of 1 on there to make it worth more valuable.
My wife will be very happy about that. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but so just taking a meeting with these people now, it's like, all right, well, look, this is my track record now on a professional level. Let's just say everything pre-2017 doesn't count, okay? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about what we're doing now. Now, billions of dollars have been created to the hobby. There's people in power meetings, in rooms saying, this guy, Ben Baller, has literally brought back the hobby in different levels. People are like, oh, man, don't be such a fuck, man. You stroking your ego too much. No, motherfucker. I'm hearing this from multiple people from different backgrounds that don't even know. My boy Shalizi, who's Marshmallow's manager, he's in the music business, got his own little things, got some things. He's even like, bro, people and are talking about cards right now and how you came back and, definitely jump-started it and had a lot to do with it. And I'm happy for that. So when it comes to, like, let's say, for instance, this next liquor brand partnership, I'm not coming in and do no fucking design or do something else. I'm only doing that if there's points on it. You know what I mean? You got to give me some ownership. You got to give me this and this. You can't just pay me $100,000 because, I'm going on Instagram doing certain things. Like, look, when people see that I'm posting way less jewelry, I got a jewelry page. What the fuck do I need to post that for? I don't have access to my jewelry page. You want to know why? Because people are DMing me for stupid shit. Whether they want a loan, they want to hear this, they want to send me music demo tapes. No, boom. My cannabis company, don't have access to that. Even my podcast company, I have somebody running those things. My page is my page. If I want to post jewelry, I do, of course, if it's in my best interest. But mostly, there's paid things, and there's going to be family. That's it. You're going to see my wife, my kids, and the things that are funny. I have stories for that, right? So when I walk into any of these places and say, look, man, I'm going to be the oldest guy that you signed to do something, but respect my gangster. I'm going to make you guys money. Your return on investment is going to happen, right? but how can we change the game, right? And if I feel like I get either writer's block or creativity block, I'm not going to put myself in there just for the check, because now I'm going to, the last thing I want to do is, Little Uzi, he wrote this tweet after me and him work with each other. So basically, if you're older than 25, you just basically old and washed up. 27, forget about it, boom, whatever. It's like, bro, you're 30 years old. The fuck you talking to me for? You're a clown. You're too old. And he didn't mean it to me, but indirectly, I was like, oh shit, that's crazy, right? Now, meanwhile, every year I've become more relevant, and when people are kind of like, oh, I'm done, that's it. They just have no more to grow. I somehow break the apex and keep expanding my brand. And I'm wondering, okay, so when does it stop? It's a lot of stress, believe it or not. I could sit doing nothing with my kids. I want to just focus on hanging out with my kids. But I'm thinking like, damn, this shit's coming out on Wednesday. I need to really push this. I need to do this and this. Focus on my mind. My wife was like, man, babe, you really just got to take a rest. Because I don't have a 9 to 5. I don't go, and at 5 o'clock, I'm done. And I don't think about selling stocks anymore or selling sanitizer or whatever the fuck it may be. I got people in Japan that are waking up at 6 p.m. I got people in fucking Europe that at midnight, they're hitting me because it's 8 a.m. there. I got people all over the world that are like, hey, man, we're going to do this. Never in a million years, I think I'd be flown to Dubai to do a fucking tracksuit collaboration with a luxury brand out there. And I'm like, well, no one's buying this shit, man. All right, cool, let's do it. I do something fresh, and it ends up doing well. But I've tried to really look at all my projects, my body of work, like a motley crew, just like a big melting pot of all kinds of shit. And who's to say that Ben doesn't have his own hot sauce coming, which I do. But what I'm saying is, it's just, I'm just bringing my brand and enhancing other things. And hopefully it's talked about. And I hope I make my kids proud, and I hope that when it's all said and done, there is a legacy to be proud of. And I'm doing the chess moves, and I'm getting real close to the queen, because I just, like you, God bless you. When I hear other people like Gary Vee say, I want to live to be 100 and still work. My boy Rich Kleiman's like, yo, I want to be 100 years old and work. I'm like, bro, I don't want to be 100 years old and work. I'm like, I got such a late start in life. You know what I mean? Most of my friends' kids are graduating high school or been whatever. Like, my kids are little kids, My wife is 11 years younger than me. So like, I want to enjoy that now. I want to be a dad, and that's what I want to do. I feel like I've worked all my life since I was 12, 8 years old. I don't want to work anymore. So I look at these labels and these brands that want to do a partnership as not a stepping stone, but an infinity stone to my Thanos ring. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, I'm close to getting that 5.
Yeah.
And then just
No, I get it. I mean, I think one of the great, because again, it's funny when you say, Uzi said, when, it's a wrap when you're 25 or you're 30. I remember saying to myself, having an exit strategy at 19 as an MC, where I'm like, nobody wants to see no fucking 25-year-old Ramen on stage, fucking old ass man, yada yada. Nobody wants to see a 30-year-old Ramen on stage, So I get that, because I was that dude, but now I'm also the guy who can be honest enough to say, damn, when I was 25, I was a fucking asshole. Like, I didn't know what I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? And I can grow from that. And my hope for me is that I can learn from you and emulate what you're doing, so that the things that I am passionate about, the things that I'm building, I can kind of create relevance, but also do it in a way where there's not only the success, because I've had success in other places in my life, whether it's owning a liquor company that we sold, or owning this and that, but also the cultural importance. And you really hit on something that is so profound to me. I love the fact that people show me respect for what I did with Nas and OC and Echo and all of that. But the moves that I've made the last 5 years are very much underneath the surface. And it's not that I try to promote them or politic them, but I know that those are the things that are building our house on the water, what me and my wife are doing now. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are things. And I don't need, those accolades, but it would be nice. And what I'm, building with this podcast is something that I am internally passionate about. I love to interview people. I love to do my research, so when they speak about things, I not only know what they're speaking about, but why we're talking about it. Like, those are the things that, like, I gravitate towards. And those are the beautiful parts of, my deal with Sony and like you sharing this amazing amount of your most valuable commodity, which is your time. You've given me, I could take another 2 hours of your time. I'm not going to, but
let me say this real quick. I have become, I was a fan from afar. As ridiculous at the same time, I'm like, yo, this motherfucker is dancing his ass off, but it doesn't look fucked up. That's what's fucking me up. And he's got a high top fade. He's got the fucking I'm almost hating because I'm jealous in a way, right? But like that to the the evolution to seeing you in the Beverly Center talking about Last Emperor briefly. Really
which was a great conversation, by the way. It's very quick and very poignant.
Right. Very chill, poised dude. Then having the conversation, this guy being so nice and humble and thinking like, damn, but I also believe that you might have been an asshole. I get that's cool. But I'm like thinking like, damn, this is such a great thing. And you talk about podcasting and that's really my love. It's just the pandemic has fucked me up so much. And I just said it on my episode that y'all can say, like, I'm like, man, I have the means to do things financially and other stuff, but that shit don't even matter. It's the fact that people are still out going to clubs and shit like, yo, what the fuck? Like, it drives me crazy for humanity. But real quick, because we've gone over the time, I have to go back to this story in Miami real quick, just to tell you how much of the underdog the West Coast was. All right. I have to just finish the story.
Yeah, please.
So I'm in Miami. How can I be down? Driving down Collins, okay? All the usual suspects. I see all kinds of people. I see people who were in the music business, ain't in it now, whatever, that they're friends. My boy Ducky U.
Shout out to Ducky, who got the best fucking sneaker store in DC. The best.
So Ducky's out there. I'm laughing at Ducky, boom. And I always told Ducky, I said, when I got into the music business, there was only one other Korean in the business. He worked a relative. His name was Peter Kang. He had the Beatnuts, Curious George, but whatever. I never got to meet dude, but he was friends with other friends of mine, and I respect another Korean was out there. So going on.
What about Kelly Wu? Is Kelly Wu not Korean?
Chinese.
Oh, Chinese.
Kelly Wu, love you, bro. Ex-priority lover. Listen, every time I see
Kelly Wu,
I always
isn't he at Kashmir now? Isn't he there with Ryan Ford?
Shout out to Ted Chung. And every time I see Kelly Wu, I say, yo, Kelly Wu from the Gavin. Because RZA said that in the fucking song of Protect Your Neck. That's legendary, bro. For him to say in a fucking song like that era, Protect Your Neck, saying Kelly Wu from the Gavin. So going on, I'm in a rental Land Cruiser in Miami using the Priority credit card, boom. And I pull up and I see Buckwild, all them, boom. I see Buckshot, I'm sorry, Buckwild. And I see fuck, man. Damn. Anyways, Sean Price jumps in, and I can't remember who else from Duck Down jumps in. Sean Price is talking crazy shit out the window. We're just pulling up, just driving around South Beach, and he's like, "Yo, you going to the Wu-Tang joint tonight? Would you go on Def Jam thing?" I was like, "Nah, bro. Tell him, I gotta go to the Priority Records showcase." He's like, "You playing yourself, son? Are you going to go to this Ice Cube shit? You fucking playing yourself, right?" The West Coast Priority thing is at the Cameo, right? And Cameo's legendary, boom, shout out to King Waggy T, Chinese Jamaican DJ, legendary DJ. I'm inside the Cameo, we're doing it, and I'm gonna be honest with you. It's 65% occupancy, meaning it ain't even sold out in there, right? This is fucking Ice Cube. You kidding me? One thing I respected the fuck out of. Q-Tip showed up out of respect for Cube, I guess because they had a relationship from maybe Poetic Justice. I'm not exactly sure. Q-Tip showed up. Boom. Great show. Boom. Here and there. Now, towards the end, there's some other things. I was like, fuck this. You know what? I'm going to Glam Slam. Glam Slam was Prince's Club, by the way. By the way, you guys don't know, it turned into Mansion, and it's a Def Jam showcase. Now, the only thing is, I think it was more Violator because Tribe was the headliner. Okay. I go in there. I walk in. It's early. Our showcase ended at like at 10 p.m. This motherfucking thing ain't open sharp until like midnight. You know what I'm saying? So I go in. I see my boy Bigga B. Rest in peace, Bigga B.
Yep. Rest in peace.
I was like,
rest in peace.
Who is this weird ass dude? Thinks he's ODB. That's weird. And then Bigga's like, hold on. Bro, that's Bigga. That's fucking ODB. And I was like, no, get the fuck out of here, right? Like the dude's just walking in the crowd like it's nothing. And he's an enormous Wu-Tang member, boom. So By the way, one of the most legendary nights ever in shit. Redman, Method Man, whatever, boom. So the show's about to start. DJ Enough is on the turntables, and everyone's quiet. The place is, let's say the place holds 2,000, there's 2,700 in there. It is packed to the gills. Now, there's a bit of party people with me. We just left the party showcase. You know, obviously representing the heavy West Coast shit. Q, we think he's great. West Side Connection is doing very good. It went 2 or 3 times platinum. Nobody gives a fuck at all whatsoever in this place. So the stage opens up, Enough's playing music, boom, and immediately Survival of the Fittest comes on. The place is quiet. The whole place erupted. And I remember looking at my boy Mark Brown, who ended up kind of like running party after and on the back end and being with Jay and all them during that Reasonable Doubt finishing thing. I look at Mark Brown, he looks at me, and he's like, and he's a blood, by the way, but he's kind of low key about it. He's like, bro, we in the wrong fucking place. I'm like, nah, motherfucker, we in the right place. This shit's crazy. And then he stops the record. People are going fucking nuts, Mobb Deep, like just to hear that. And this is like, 2 years later, but it was just obviously iconic anthem. And he goes, is New York in the house? Let me hear you. We're in Miami Beach. Loudest I've ever heard in the entire world to hear hell yeah. And I was like, fuck, man, we're in the wrong fucking place, bro. Like, we're in the wrong fucking place. So the show goes on. Every time it was just iconic, legendary. The Roots perform, and they're doing, all the hip hop, the fuck is it? The homage, all the hip hop shit, doing shit. Black Dots out there, boom. And they're just killing it. Redman and Method Man start performing. I'm sorry. Old Dirty Bastard. The Roots plays Old Dirty Bastard. They play Brooklyn Zoo. So ODB decides to jump on stage and grab the microphone. Now, he won't give the microphone back. They're already on. They only do like 16 bars, do like a minute of the song, and then go to the next song, right? It's like a medley. And he keeps wanting to do more shit. He has the mic is going off. He's like, nah, fuck that. He's talking crazy shit. So they finally get the mic back. I don't know what the fuck happened. He passes out on stage, might be on drugs, and so they take Old DB to the hospital. This is how long the fucking showcase was. It's maybe 3 or 4 in the morning. Tribe already performed, and now the headliner is Redman, Method Man. Redman, Method Man are doing their songs, blah, blah, whatever, and they're down to like their last thing where they're doing, it wasn't Rock Wilder because this is 96, but they're doing like a huge showcase. I don't know how the fuck it's possible because I've physically seen the EMT take Old Dirty Bastard out of the stage, okay? 3 hours later, here's Redman is up here on a speaker like this. Method Man's on a speaker over here, and there's a DJ there. I don't remember the DJ's name, but it was a Wu-Tang DJ. I see Old Dirty Bastard walk on stage, and he does this. Like, he's in the background, by the way. So he walks like this, he goes. He puts his hand, goes. And then you see some dudes run on stage, pretty big security guards, run on stage, and they try to kind of get him. Anybody who is at least my age would know probably the biggest mistake. It's not that he lifted weights or anything. You can't fucking stop OD. He's crazy as fuck. Dude is nuts, right? So they're trying to choke him, headlock, everything. But these guys are rapping, don't even know what's going on behind them. And so he says, fuck this. Old DB grabs a DJ, pushes him down, grabs the turntables, throws him on the ground, grabs the cords and pull everything. Now all the sound is off. And Redman turns around and sees what's going on. He's like, fuck, man. Like, there's no sound, there's nothing. There's 3,000 people in this fucking place. It's lit. And they finally get Old DB out of there. Method Man is the look of disappointment and so of just level of upset he is crazy. And Redman goes up there and he just goes on top of the speaker, takes a shot off. He goes, fuck this. I don't need no music. I don't need no microphone. This is for Jersey. And he just starts spitting like 200 bars. And I'm like, God damn, right? And he's just going off and everything else. And I look at the corner of my eye. By the way, now I'm close to the front of the stage because I want Redman to acknowledge me, but he doesn't even know I exist and everything. And I look to the side and I see Rock, I see Sean Price, and he's looking at us just, you here, right? You're here for a reason. And it was just funny. I just wanted to say, like, it was crazy starting to realize that we could sell 4 or 5 million on the West Coast, but no one fucked with us. You know what I mean? Like, the West Coast was like, it was they just that Def Jam shit. They owned, you know. And this was that time when Dante Ross had No Doubt Entertainment. I seen the Notre Dame logo, boom and stuff and everything. And I was just always like, damn man, I wish you know I had some New York affiliation besides just having Priority Records East, which you know. But I don't know. It was just a funny story I wanted to tell. I never was get lively about it.
No, I thank you for that, and I want to just I want to share something with you when you talk about LA, and you'll be able to see it. So this is a photo of Sub Rock, MF Doom, and Tupac when we were on the road together back in the day. It's from my personal collection of photos. Just that's kind of the relationship we all had. When you talk about not getting your respect, I have to politely and respectfully disagree because that's the kind of love that we had for the guys on the West Coast.
Nah, for sure. We didn't even get into the Tupac story, but it's all good. I think we could do a part 2. And
no. We're going to do a lot of part 2s because I owe it for your podcast. But I do want to show you something because it is something that now I've become passionate about. So our company, you know, obviously Melted Mics, we've kind of started to want to pay tribute to things. And one of the things that is very hot and becoming hot and continuing hot is challenge coins. So we made these challenge coins for the 30th anniversary of Pop Goes Weasel, Derelicts of Dialect, and KMD right there. So you can get those on meltedmics.com. Obviously, you're going to be getting some signed ones, the KMD one. And we did a partnership with Jonathan Mannion, with Mannion Felts, turntable Felts, of some of his most iconic images, ODB, Snoop, Game looking out. It's one of my favorites, the Scarface one, Game looking out. Wait, I think I can actually, let me see if I can make it bigger. Nope. Oh, there it is. So now you can see, you know, all the other ones. But yeah, man, so I'm just really excited about that as well. So those will be coming to you as well as part of your thank you package. And also just, this is totally separate, but, you know, when we asked you to do this, you gave of your time, and I appreciate that. But I do, before we end the show, I do have to mention one thing because we are doing. I really wanted to interview some of my heroes, and one of my heroes from television was Kim Coles. I loved, you know, Living Single. I loved her, and I reached out to her on LinkedIn because I see she's become an inspirational speaker. So her people got back to me. They want to know, you know, who I was and what I was, and I'm fine with that. No ego attached to it. I'm not Serch baller. I am Serch humble, and I'm like, oh, you know, no problem. You know, no. And they send me a letter back saying, oh, she'd be more than interested for 30 minutes of interview, but she needs a $750 honorarium. So I've done a lot of interviews. I've had Chris Rock. I've had John Cryer. I've had Method Man. You know, the funny thing was they've never asked for an honorarium, but in respect to Kim Coles, if that's what she needs, we started the Kim Coles Interview Fund. Because if people want for me to interview Kim, I would be more than happy to. But, you know, I don't pay for interviews. I certainly didn't ask you, and you did not say you required, but she does, and her people do. And to date, we have raised $0. So if people want to donate to the Kim Coles Interview Fund, please hit the GoFundMe Kim Coles Interview Fund. Just wanted to make you aware of it if you want to be a part of that and give to that. And also, speaking of giving, Bruetta Tea is doing a custom Ben Baller tumbler. This Loose Leaf Tea Company has a patented tumbler that you just put the tea in, let it steep, you twist it. You'll never get a tea leaf in your mouth ever. They're making a custom Ben Baller one for you.
Dude. She fucking loves.
They have 18 flavors. They're all amazing.
The tumbler thing is a kind of a thing like, fuck, man, why does it got to go through the little filter?
No, dude, it's amazing. It's amazing. And obviously we did the Dr. Dre one to raise money for his fund. So there has all of that coming. And obviously you'll get your Melted Mics gifts. Ben, man, thank you so much. Anything that we can promote? I know you have your podcast.
Yes, you know, that's it. I just really am passionate about that. I honestly feel like when I'm done with everything else, I feel like I could podcast till I'm 70. And it's just something I like doing. And even though I'm busy, I still like clockwork. Every Monday, every Thursday, I drop. It's globally ranked, across the everywhere, and I'm excited about it. And I want to interview more people, I just you truly do make me want to be a better person. And I look at you as like, because you are my elder or my older than me, it inspires me to. I feel like you wake up, and like I thought about this last night when I talked to him. Like, this motherfucker's up at 2. I can't even stay up that late anymore. I couldn't stay up for New Year's Eve, right? But I truly do believe, just from your energy, that you wake up like, let's get it. Thank God, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's get it. And I do need to be more grateful. I'm very grateful, and I think that life is very generous and life is very good. But definitely, I gotta get. I definitely have to. I need to seize the day a little bit. I tell people to, but it's easier for me to say it than me wake up. And go, fuck, another day. Like, I just want to say that you definitely, it rubs off on me, and I really do appreciate that, you being an older dude. And then I don't mean to say it like that either. I just say it like.
No, I listen. I don't take it anyway, but with love and appreciation and affection. So I will always be the OG in your life that will hopefully rub off some good and some kindness when you need it, brother.
Please, man. Please. Thank you so much again, man.
Nah, my pleasure. Ben Baller, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to Ben, man. He was amazing. Oh, my God. The story about Miami is definitely going to be the clip that runs for the rest of the week. Again, thank you to all of you guys. Thank you for being a part of this. We have Stacey Abrams coming, the amazing woman from Georgia who is responsible for the election that changed the tides in the Senate. She's coming up in a few weeks. And I got a big show, a really big show coming up for y'all really, really quickly and soon in the next couple of weeks. I can't wait for y'all to see it. Thank you. Good night, y'all. We will see you soon. Peace.